Hey hello everyone, I am Mia and welcome here for Crossdressing story with us enjoy. At 18, during the long stretch of his final high school year, Alex found himself standing before the full-length mirror in the quiet of his sister's abandoned room. The late afternoon sun filtered through the half-drawn curtains, catching in the auburn strands of his hair that now brushed his shoulders. He'd let it grow all year, claiming it was for the band, but really, it was for moments like this. The dress he wore had once been Emily's favorite, a soft cotton sundress patterned with tiny florals. It clung to his slender frame in a way that made him feel electric, alive, feminine, yet undeniably himself. Twirling slowly, he watched the skirt flare, feeling the fabric whisper against his skin. A quick swipe of eyeliner sharpened his hazel eyes, completing the small ritual that made the room feel sacred. The house was silent. His parents wouldn't return for hours, leaving him this fragile pocket of time to breathe, to become Alexa, the version of himself he never dared show the world. What began as innocent curiosity, digging through the boxes of clothes Emily left behind, had grown into something deeper. A pair of stockings, smooth and cool, a blouse that draped perfectly over his shoulders. Each piece was a secret key, unlocking a freedom he couldn't find anywhere else. Makeup tutorials guided his hands, teaching him to blend foundation until it felt like skin, to curl lashes for a look that was both soft and defiant. Each brushstroke, each fabric against his body, wove together a hidden sanctuary. He was no longer just Alex here, he was someone else, someone luminous, delicate, and daring. Checking the clock, he realized he had plenty of time. He slipped into low heels, testing his stride across the hardwood floor. The click of each step echoed like applause in an empty theater. He imagined a life where he could leave this room without fear, where skirts swished around him, auburn hair bouncing with every step. But reality was patient, waiting just beyond the door, filled with judgment and expectations he wasn't ready to face. For now, though, this was his world. Moving into the kitchen, he poured himself a glass of water, feeling the dress's hem brush against his knees. Leaning against the counter, he thought of Emily, how she had always teased him, called him sensitive, her little brother. Here, in the quiet sunlight, Alex wasn't just someone's little brother. He was Alexa, and she felt alive. He had always been more in touch with his feelings than most boys. If only she knew how true that was. Alex set the glass down and headed back upstairs, planning to change soon, but first, one last look in the mirror to savor the quiet thrill of transformation. Then came the unexpected sound of the front door clicking open, keys jingling. He froze at the top of the stairs, heart hammering in his chest. His parents weren't supposed to be home for hours. Something must have happened at work. Panic surged as their voices reached him, his mother's light, familiar laughter tangled with his father's gruff mutterings about traffic. There was no time to retreat, no chance to wipe away the carefully applied makeup, no opportunity to shed the dress. He stood frozen, exposed, as they crossed the foyer and finally looked up. Alex, is that, what on earth? His mother's voice faltered, eyes widening, her purse slipping from her hand. His father stood beside her, brow furrowed, caught between confusion and shock. I can explain, Alex whispered, voice barely audible. Heat rose to his cheeks, highlighting the blush he had meticulously blended. The skirt felt suddenly too short, the eyeliner too sharp, the sanctuary of his room now a trap. His parents exchanged a long, tense glance. Then Sarah, his mother, stepped forward, her expression softening but threaded with worry. Honey, come down here. Let's talk. Her voice carried that familiar gentle cadence she used when he was upset as a child, but layered beneath it was something new, concern, unease, maybe even fear. Mark, his father, remained silent for a moment, rubbing his chin. "Son, what's going on? Dressing like this, is there a reason?" There was no anger, just a quiet, puzzled weight that made Alex's stomach twist into knots. He descended the stairs slowly, each step amplifying his vulnerability. The heels made him wobble slightly, and by the time he reached the bottom, he kicked them off, standing barefoot in the dress. It's something I've been doing when you're not home," he confessed, eyes fixed on the floor, auburn hair falling like a curtain across his face. "I like how it feels. It's not hurting anyone." Sarah reached out, brushing her hand lightly against his arm. "Okay, let's sit in the living room. Mark, why don't you make some tea? We need to breathe for a moment." Guided gently to the couch, Alex sat, smoothing the skirt over his knees, acutely aware of every movement. As Mark busied himself in the kitchen, Sarah leaned closer. "How long has this been happening, Alex? And why didn't you tell us?" Her eyes searched his face, lingering on the careful application of makeup, the small details that betrayed weeks of secret practice. "A few weeks, mostly," he admitted, his voice trembling. "But I've thought about it longer. I feel like myself this way, Mom. Like a femme. I'm not saying I want to be a girl all the time, but dressing like this, it fits." He finally met her gaze. Surprise softened, folding into something almost like understanding. Mark returned with mugs of tea, passing one to each of them, then settling into the armchair across from the couch. "I don't really get it, kid. You're a boy. We've raised you that way. Is this just a phase?" His words weren't harsh, but the weight of expectation pressed against Alex's chest. He drew a deep breath, letting the warm steam from the tea wash over him, grounding him. For the first time, in the soft glow of the living room, surrounded by his parents' quiet watchfulness, Alex felt the fragile stirrings of acceptance, and a hope that maybe, just maybe, this secret side of himself could exist without shame. "It's not a phase, Dad. It's part of me. I didn't choose it, it just is." His voice trembled slightly, but there was honesty there he couldn't hide. "I was scared you'd be mad, or disappointed." The conversation stretched into the evening. At first, it was awkward, full of pauses and careful glances. Sarah asked about the clothes, the ones he'd been secretly wearing. Emily's old things, he admitted. And if he was safe, if anyone else knew. Mark listened quietly, mostly, his thoughts spilling out in gentle concerns about school, friends, the world outside. "It's not always kind to people who are different," he said, his voice gruff but not unkind. As the sun sank behind the horizon, spilling long shadows across the living room, Alex felt a fragile sense of relief. They hadn't yelled. They hadn't rejected him. Sarah even suggested looking into resources, maybe talking to a counselor who specialized in gender expression. "We love you, Alex," she said, pulling him into a hug. The dress crinkled softly between them, but it didn't matter. Mark's expression remained thoughtful, hesitant. "Just take it slow, okay? We need time to process." He patted Alex awkwardly on the shoulder before retreating to the garage, his usual space to think and tinker. That night, Alex changed back into his usual clothes, jeans and a t-shirt, but his reflection lingered in the mirror. Auburn hair framing his face, remnants of eyeliner smudged faintly on his skin. The secret was out. The house had changed in subtle ways. Not shattered, just shifted. Morning came bright and clear. The smell of pancakes drifted upstairs. Downstairs, Sarah flipped them on the griddle with a smile. "Good morning, sweetie. Thought we'd have a nice breakfast before school." Mark sat at the table, newspaper in hand, but looked up and nodded. "Morning, son. Alex sank into the chair, the familiarity of the routine feeling fragile, like glass in his hands. Conversation flowed lightly, weather, upcoming exams, little trivialities that made the world seem normal again. But Sarah cleared her throat toward the end of the meal. About last night, your father and I talked. We want to support you, Alex, but maybe keep this at home for now, okay? Alex nodded, understanding the caution, relief mingling with hope. Yeah. I get it. Thanks for not freaking out. At school, the day felt longer than usual. Alex sat in math class, pen moving across his notebook while his mind drifted back to the folded dress in his closet. Sunlight caught his auburn hair, and he brushed a strand behind his ear, a small gesture that now felt natural. Friends chatted, oblivious to the storm of emotions he carried from home. At lunch, he joined his best friend Jamie at their usual table. Hey, man, spaced out much? Everything okay? Yeah, just family stuff, Alex said, forcing a smile. Sharing was impossible, too fresh, too raw. But knowing his parents were trying, even if cautiously, made his chest feel lighter. After school, leaves crunched beneath his shoes as he walked home. The house was empty again, giving him that familiar, tentative freedom. Should he continue his routine? The memory of getting caught lingered, but last night's acceptance gave him courage. Upstairs, he picked out a soft, flowing blouse and skirt combo. Applying lipstick carefully, he heard the front door open. Emily. Home early for the weekend. Panic flared, but it was tempered by last night's reassurance. He wiped the lipstick quickly but didn't change. Perhaps it was time to tell her too. Descending the stairs, he saw her surprise mirror his parents. Wow, little bro. Or should I say, sis? Emily grinned, dropping her bag. Mom texted me something was up. Spill. They settled on the couch, and Alex told her everything, the routine, the feelings, the femme identity. Emily listened, nodding. I always knew you were special. Remember when we played dress up as kids? You loved it more than I did, she laughed, pulling him into a side hug. I'm proud of you for exploring this. Her support felt like balm. They spent the afternoon talking. Emily shared college stories of friends who were non-binary or trans, normalizing the experience. You should come visit sometime, meet people who get it. When their parents returned, the house hummed with a new energy. Emily's presence bridged gaps. Dinner became a discussion, not a confrontation. Mark admitted his confusion had come from worry for Alex's safety, not disapproval. Sarah suggested shopping for some clothes that were truly his, something comfortable, not just hand-me-downs. If this is you, let's make it feel right. Alex's heart swelled. For the first time, he felt seen. That evening, curled on the couch in casual boy clothes, he still felt the lingering warmth of acceptance. Over the following days, life began to settle into a new rhythm. Alex continued exploring at home, a little braver each time, the world feeling a bit wider, and perhaps, a bit kinder. Some days, Alex practiced with Emily's tips on makeup before she left for college again. His auburn hair had grown into soft, natural waves, and he carried himself with a quiet confidence. At school, though, the world was less forgiving. Whispers followed him in the hallways. Glances that weren't overt, but sharp enough to make him aware. One afternoon, trudging home after a grueling history test, Alex finally confided in Jamie. Dude, there's something I need to tell you, he said, voice low. I've been dressing in girls' clothes at home. Like. I'm a femme. It just feels right. Jamie stopped in his tracks, eyes wide. Whoa. Really? That's cool, I guess. As long as you're happy, man. Just, watch out. Some kids here are jerks. He should have listened. The next week, rumors spread like wildfire. Someone had overheard, maybe even glimpsed him through a window. He wasn't sure. In the hallways, snickers followed him like a shadow. Gym class was worse. A group of boys cornered him in the locker room. Hey, Alex. Heard you like to play dress up. Planning to wear a skirt to prom? Tyler, a burly kid with a permanent sneer, led the group. His friends cackled behind him. Alex felt his face flame, but he squared his shoulders, auburn hair tumbling into his eyes. None of your business. Back off. Tyler shoved him lightly. Freak. The coach intervened before it escalated, but the damage lingered. Tears stung Alex's eyes as he skipped the rest of the day and trudged home early. Sarah had taken the afternoon off. She hugged him tightly, drawing the story out of him. Oh, honey. I'm so sorry. We'll talk to the school. That evening, the family convened. Mark, usually stoic, finally spoke. No one's going to bully my kid. I'll go with you tomorrow, Sarah. Alex, you don't have to hide who you are. We'll protect you. Grateful, Alex nodded. That support lit a spark inside him. Slowly, he began weaving subtle elements of his identity into daily life: clear lip gloss, neutral nail polish, auburn hair tied with a ribbon. When the weekend came, Emily called with an idea. There's a support group in the city for LGBTQ+ youth. Want to check it out? Mom and Dad can drive. The drive was filled with nervous chatter. At the community center, teens gathered in a circle, sharing their stories. Alex listened, then spoke tentatively. Hi, I'm Alex. I like dressing as a girl sometimes. I'm a femboy. My family knows now, and it's been mostly okay. They welcomed him. A short-haired girl talked about her journey, another boy shared his love of makeup. Alex felt seen. His auburn hair blended with the colors of the room, a small but profound comfort. Back home, emboldened, he experimented more. One afternoon, he tried a simple skirt and top for a family outing in the park. Sarah walked beside him, Mark a step behind, ready to intervene if needed. A few glances, but no comments. Alex felt powerful, the wind tousling his hair, carrying a sense of pride he'd never felt before. School improved after his parents spoke with the principal. Tyler was warned, rumors dwindled. And Alex found an unexpected ally, Lena, a quiet girl in art class. I think it's brave what you're doing, she said one day, smiling. Your hair looks great too. That auburn suits you. They became friends, sketching together and sharing interests. Lena even introduced him to online communities, where femboys swapped tips and encouragement. Alex's world expanded, and his one secret routine began to feel less hidden, more part of who he was. One evening, as he prepared for bed, his phone rang. Jamie's voice was urgent. Alex. Tyler and his crew, they're planning something tomorrow. I overheard them in the parking lot. Be careful. His pulse quickened. He told his parents, who promised to handle it, but as he lay in the dark with auburn hair spread over the pillow, doubt crept in. Would this finally be the real trouble? The next day, tension hung like fog. Alex stuck close to Lena and Jamie as he navigated the halls. During lunch, Tyler appeared at their table, smirking. Hey, princess. Got a little surprise for you after school. Before Alex could respond, the principal arrived, having been tipped off. Tyler was escorted away, but the words lingered, poison in his ears. When the bell rang, Alex hurried outside, heart hammering. A group of Tyler's friends waited near the gates. Jamie grabbed his arm. Back way. Hurry. They ran, but footsteps echoed behind them. Alex looked back. What do you want? His voice stayed steady despite the fear. The leader stepped forward. Just want to talk, femboy. About your little hobby. Then Sarah's car pulled up. Alex, get in, she shouted. Relief surged as he dove into the vehicle, slamming the door. The group scattered, defeated. Alex exhaled, auburn hair catching the sunlight, and for the first time that day, he felt truly safe. Safe inside the car, Alex exhaled, though his chest still felt tight. Thanks, Mom, that was close. At home, Mark paced the living room, fists clenched. This has to stop. Maybe homeschooling, or transferring schools. Alex shook his head firmly. No, Dad. I won't run. This is me. Voices rose, emotions raw. When Emily arrived later, her presence added clarity. He needs to face it, but safely, she said, her tone calm but firm. As night fell, Alex retreated to his room, slipping into a soft nightdress. He brushed his auburn hair, staring at his reflection. Acceptance from his family, new friends, and even small victories had come his way, but so had threats, bullying, and whispers. What would tomorrow bring? A knock at the door broke his thoughts. Mark stood there, holding a small box. Son, I got you something, for protection, just in case. Inside lay a pepper spray keychain. Use it wisely, Mark added, his voice a mix of caution and care. Alex drifted to sleep, though uneasy. Moments later, his phone buzzed. An unknown number, this isn't over, freak. A chill ran down his spine, the words gnawing at the edges of his newfound peace. Weeks passed. Confidence bloomed alongside experience. He attended more support group meetings, forging friendships with teens who understood his femme identity. Riley became a mentor of sorts, sharing tips on styling auburn hair to enhance feminine features without exaggeration. They exchanged numbers, making plans to hang out. At home, Sarah helped Alex curate his wardrobe, skirts and blouses selected with care. This one would look gorgeous with your hair, she'd say, holding up a soft floral piece. Mark, slower to adapt, eventually joined in. You pull it off, kid, he admitted one afternoon, and Alex's heart lifted. School was still a battlefield, but allies like Lena and Jamie made it navigable. Art class became a haven. Alex's sketches explored fluid identities, auburn-haired protagonists in flowing dresses embodying courage and grace. One weekend, the family planned a trip to the beach. Alex packed both boy and girl clothes, choosing a swimsuit paired with a sarong. The first step on the sand felt like a liberation, waves lapping at his feet, sun warming his skin. Strangers glanced but offered smiles instead of judgment. Emily called, splashing in the water. Come on, Alexa. The water's amazing. Her use of his chosen name aloud made it feel real. For the first time, it resonated. Back at the hotel, dinner became a family celebration. Mark raised a glass, to our family, and to Alex being himself. Pride and warmth surged in Alex, though shadows lingered. At school, danger resurfaced. A note slipped into his locker, watch your back. Anonymous, menacing. The frustration gnawed at them all, but Alex decided to fight back differently, by speaking at the school assembly on diversity. With guidance from the counselor, he prepared his speech, auburn hair styled neatly, voice steady. I dress as a girl sometimes because it makes me happy. It's not about hurting anyone. It's about being true to myself. Applause met him. Whispers, too. Tyler's influence was absent physically but lingered in echoes. Positive messages arrived afterward, you're inspiring. Lena hugged him. That took guts. Walking home, however, a car slowed beside him. Window down. Stranger inside, nice speech, kid. Not everyone's a fan. The car sped off, leaving a shiver in Alex's spine. That evening, the family convened again. Maybe it's time for a fresh start, Sarah suggested, a new school, a safer space. Alex brushed his auburn hair thoughtfully. He loved his life, the freedom, but the threats were real. Another text arrived, "Meet me tomorrow, or else." Unknown sender. Heart racing, Alex lay awake, wondering if confrontation was inevitable, or if escape was his only option. Morning dawned with resolve. He chose an outfit that straddled his worlds, a skirt paired with a band tee, auburn hair in loose waves. Over breakfast, he told his parents about the text. Mark insisted on involving the police, but Alex wanted to attempt control first. At school, the counselor alerted authorities. Every shadow seemed heavier that day, every glance sharper. During free period, he met Riley at a nearby cafe. "Don't let them dim your light," Riley said. "Your auburn hair, it's a beacon." Encouraged, Alex returned to class. As the final bell rang, a figure awaited by his locker. Tyler, smug, back from suspension. "To end this, you're making the school a joke," Tyler sneered. Before Alex could respond, Jamie and Lena appeared, phones out, recording. "Back off, Tyler. This is harassment." A crowd gathered, teachers intervened, and Tyler was escorted away, with promises of expulsion. Relief washed over Alex, tempered by unease. That evening, the police took statements about the threatening texts. Dinner was subdued, pride mingled with worry. Emily called, cheering him on, "You're a warrior, bro." Normalcy returned gradually. Alex experimented with makeup, maintained his auburn hair as a constant, and anonymously blogged about Femme experiences, gaining followers. One weekend, the family attended a city pride event. Alex in a full dress walked hand in hand with his family. Compliments came from strangers. Riley introduced him to friends. For hours, he danced, laughed, and felt truly accepted. On the drive home, Mark's phone rang. Unknown caller, "Is this Alex's dad? Tell him to stop or there will be consequences." Deadline. The family froze. Sarah gripped the wheel. "This is getting serious." Pulling into the driveway, the house dark, a shadowy figure emerged near the porch, face obscured. "Alex," the voice hissed, low and menacing. "We need to talk." Heart pounding, Alex stepped onto the porch, auburn hair shimmering in the pale glow of the moon. Shadows twisted around the stranger, face hidden, intentions unknown. A cold knot of fear and curiosity coiled in his stomach. Who were they? What did they want? The night seemed to hold its breath, every sound amplified, every shadow a question.